Welcome back to the WGL EU Season 4 Match Week 9. We're in the final match or play day of the two, and now we have a great game is all I'm going to say. This is the game that I've been looking forward to since seeing this one was coming up pretty much. As soon as I glimpsed it on obviously the WGL.eu.com, certainly one that I'm looking forward to watching. TCM up against Kazna crew. That's a bit of a big game to say the very least. Not just because, you know, these two have been in the season for God knows how long. They've been in the WGL since on the start, in various forms, various lineups. But all in all, it's a bit of a grudge match. And I think you know a little bit more as to why you've been speaking to the players a little bit here, but there's certainly a little bit of a back and forth between these two.
I think it really does stem from the fact that these guys have been switching players a lot. You can see, for instance, still Mojo, who was the team leader of Kazna crew, now in TCM-Gaming. These guys have a lot of history together. Yep. And when you have a guys who in one team leave your team and go to another team, there's a little bit of rivalry starts off there. For sure, I think we've all experienced that at some point in our lives. And the other thing is that they just generally think that they are pretty close in terms of skill.
They are to an extent.
Just calls out TCM-Gaming a couple of times. But it's very, very interesting, this one for me. I think they're very close. Obviously, Kazna are a little bit more storied, a little bit more of a developed lineup in general.
Yes.
A little
Results
bit better
wise
together
as well.
Yeah, they've two wins and a loss. That's the last three matches. And for TCM, it's a loss. Obviously, in the last match day on Monday was against 3-0 and 2 draws. Which is not too good for them. So this would be their first win in 4 games.
And they really do start needing that because, TCM seems as though they've developed a bit of an issue with actually closing out games, which is the bigger problem here. They get, maybe the first 2 maps and then they just kind of let it slip on the last 3 and either ends in a loss or a draw, and it's quite not upsetting, but it's disappointing considering they can be such a strong team on occasion. However, Kazna have seen, they've showed they are human. They have now obviously slipped once or twice, making them look maybe less formidable against the Giants. They were originally one of the teams that we thought may be able to challenge Virtus Pros up there, but yet to see that brilliant matchup. But still, nevertheless, these two teams are certainly very close in skill on paper and player-wise. And speaking of the players, let's have a little look at them. Obviously, a head-to-head, it's very hard to pick one team above the other. It's about how they kind of get on together as a complete unit. But who are the standout players here? Dazanichter
really been an impressive player. Coming into the season, I didn't know much about him. I was kind of like, who is he? Why is he playing for TCM-Gaming? But more and more as I see how he plays, I can see he's extremely experienced, extremely good. Sitting also on top of the leaderboards for personal rating in the whole of WorldofTanks.eu. So, being first in something especially as big as World of Tanks in Europe, it's pretty impressive altogether. And of course, we got Ely and Kazna crew still 20k ahead of anyone else in terms of damage. And to be honest, I must say that's not a good thing for Kazna. Like on Lemming Train, Ely does a lot for them. A little bit too much, I have to say it. Vecco's been keeping up to some degree.
To an extent.
But when you're doing 15-20k more than the second place guy, let alone anyone else in your team, then you've got to question if you have a bad day at the offline finals, let alone at the online stages, how will your team perform? Not very well, in my opinion. And
it's funny, I look back to other games and other titles, especially CSGO and NIP, they have 2 extraordinary players, one who will consistently be heads and tails above the rest. But the question comes up of if he has a bad LAN performance, if he has a bad day, can they still provide the same results? And occasionally the answer is a no. And it's kind of been the same with Kazna. If Elian isn't at the forefront doing what he can do sometimes that is phenomenal, they do struggle a little and it becomes an overwhelming issue within that lineup. And I'm hoping today we don't see that. I'm hoping we see the well-rounded Kazna who can close out these games very nicely. But all in all, if you're going to give the guys at home a tip on who to bet on, where would you go?
We've got him to Himmelsdorf coming up first. To be honest, I really love TCM on Himmelsdorf. Very impressive stuff all around. Almost being Virtus Pro on it.
True.
So for this map, at least I'll go for TCM-Gaming. But looking at the other results, Kazna are definitely the stronger team.
Well, keeping that in mind, head over to Facebook and Twitter with WGLEU at the very end of those with that hashtag as well in use to get your predictions through to us. I like hearing from you. This is the game I have wanted to see. I hope you guys at home feel the same way. Make sure you tweet out this stream, put it on Facebook, get people aware this is about to go down because this is a very big game for both sides. Not necessarily just in results, just the way these two teams know each other and play against each other. And tank choices, I don't think we necessarily have to go through too more. Tell a lie. Kazna crew. Is that a T-32 I'm seeing?
Yeah, Crux has picked up that one. A little bit like Virtus Pro has done in the past. Let's see how this one goes down with that tank.
Yeah, certainly something to keep in mind. That'll be played by Crux there, so watch out for him. The teams, I do believe, are ready. So now we are moments away from the game that I have been looking forward to so much. So guys, let's get ready for the first map, Himmelsdorf. And welcome into battle number 1, going down on Himmelsdorf. A prolific map in World of Tanks, but these two teams certainly going to hopefully do it justice. And in the north, in blue, it will be Kazna crew, currently above TCM in the rankings. But let's see how this one unfolds, because in the south, TCM will be in red, looking to maybe upset that ranking and prove themselves at the very top as well. So what are we seeing so far?
TCM, Kazna crew even heading up towards the hill. A little good hill push is what I'd like to see. Elian, Crux, German Brait, the AMX 5100 all going up there. Of course, Crux playing the T-32, so we'll see how that one plays out. Obviously, T-32 pretty slow, not the greatest horsepower per ton ratio, so uphills it struggles. That's why German Brait in the 5100 has to give him a little bit of a push, and maybe that's going to give him enough just to get up. But that's the TCM-Gaming all in all heading up the hill. Thoris, Yizny even, Dzenichter and Uralfish. Pretty much 4 combat tanks wanting to aggress onto Kazna crew. But they're going to be on a very disadvantaged position because, as you can see, Crux, hold down T-32, is just about the way he needs to be.
But Durs isn't stopping. Durs is going to cross. I don't think he's been spoiled out either.
Nope.
They've got Durs across and Uralfish. However, Thoris and Yizny will have to be a little more careful. To play a little smarter here. But let's see if they can pull this one off. I'm curious to see how this one unfolds, because Thoris and Yizny will probably be spotted out pretty damn soon. They didn't cross over early on. They might try and get this little bit of cover just in front of them and try and play it out from there. Elian now being spotted might open the game up here, because Durs and now Uralfish with Thoris are all across. This looks like they're going to commit to this at least, or at least they're putting bodies up here. I'm curious to see how far they take this now.
Crux is sitting up there defending that position. He won't make a big difference being a T-32, but it will make a little bit of a difference, which is certainly going to be good, because his beastly ass turret, that's 298mm to deal with. Nothing on the tier 8 specs that can penetrate that, and even on tier 10 it might struggle. Yizny does get spotted, so Crux just thinks that's what's happening. Still Mojo, 580 damage done by 860 I tell a lie. That's a very, very bad news there from the side of Kazna crew at the beginning. From TCM-Gaming at the beginning. Losing so much HP at the start is really bad, and that's thanks to some perfect work by Hyber and Elian, especially up that hill.
But this might spur on the counter move coming out from TCM. Durs and Thoris are there. Elian just steps away. He's now going to have to deal with 3 tanks coming up towards him. They are not messing around. He's already down to half HP. Make it down to pretty much 2 shots. 1 more to go. And Elian is down. Durs takes a substantial amount of damage, but stays rolling. Crux is the next target. He gets a little towards Yizny, but now Durs is not stopping. He's going straight into this. Durs is not messing around. He's out in the open. He's going hell for leather. He gets taken down by German Brait. And this is unbelievably aggressive stuff going out, but Crux sure he's going to fall. Uralfish hammering down at him, and there's the shot landing. German Brait waits at the foot of the hill, but Yizny's not stopping. TCM are on a mission.
They're all going to have to try and deal with German Brait. German Brait's reloaded, so Yizny is going to be able to get a couple of shots before he does get around the corner. Only finds one. 308 damage. Veka, Cobra, and all in support. And at the moment, TCM-Gaming are pushing forwards.
TCM are looking for the reply, looking for the way to keep this going, because right now still Mojo is looking weak. He's looking like the person who could fold here. Hyper moving in, spots out the victim that he wants to take down. Now still Mojo backing away, 276 HP. I don't think he's going to withstand this from Hyper. Uralfish trying to get into position to help. Nice work, tracks Hyper, but there we go. Regardless, the shot comes in, still Mojo falls. We're back to a 3v3 with the 2 tier 1s in play for Kazna, opening up the option of that cap, and that's exactly what they're doing.
That was bad play there by Still Mojo. He had to hit that first shot even against the Hyber's IS-3. If he did, Hyber would be down to probably a 1-shot, and now he's to a 2-shot. This could be very, very bad news for TCM-Gaming. Still Mojo not living up to his name at all. Uralfish has to come off the hill. And now TCM went from good, now they're slightly worse. Pilauda getting the spot on as well, keeping the cross with Hyber to his right, but Magas from behind might be able to do some damage here. And for sure, Kazna crew have worked their way back into this game.
Yeah, Elian going down. You may have thought that was a disadvantage, but now he can just lead from the back, making sure his focus is on the right targets. Eurofish splits off. He's going to be focusing down towards that G line, whereas down the K line, we've already said, why isn't he splitting off by himself? Maybe looking to stop this cap initially, sacrifice himself for the greater good if necessary. With 42 seconds left on the cap, Hyber already catches a glimpse of him and gets the first shell towards. And Hyber in the IS-3 can get in a perfect position to stop this one. Keep your eyes on the others as well. Make sure you watch that HP bar, because this could fall very swiftly. Veko moving in as well. This could spell trouble. Wyzen, he's probably going to go down here. Veko claims it. Eurofish and Thoris nowhere to be found. Thoris is the first one on the scene. Challenge out German Brave, but I think he knows this one's over. Rolling forward, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. German Brave finds him, and now just Eurofish stands, picks up one, 2 seconds on the cap. It's not enough time. Kazna turn it around on a dime and pick up the first battle.
Veko just stayed so well there. He did a lot of damage as well, but Hyber basically won the match for them. That was perfect, flawless play from him.
Take me through what happened with Stole Mojo there, because I saw a little at the start, but then it was when he started to push.
Stole Mojo, he should never have taken so much damage. He actually lost the game for them 100%. You got to question, is Stole Mojo really a player for TCM after that game? Because he was down to 637. Should have never lost so much damage. Yes, Elian was on hill, but he should only receive 1 or 2 shells. He shouldn't have received the ones from Hyber. Then when Hyber was pushing against him, Steel Mojo hit the turret of Hyber's tank. You have to hit that shot 100%. As long as you hit it before Hyber shoots, you'll still have the reload before him. So that would have brought Hyber down to a 1-shot for at least an IS-3, maybe even for an AMX50-100. Then it would have been a kind of a different game. But I still think Kazna crew would have had the edge, because TCM-Gaming made the wrong choice. They basically rotated back up the hill, which takes like forever, at least 45 seconds, which gave Kazna crew the ability just to come down and go towards the cap. Magas also had to stay alive in that tier 1 to reset. So I think 2 mistakes by TCM. They should have carried on with a push. Derzenich shouldn't have been so aggressive when he went forward. He should have waited for all of his tanks. Should have been 3 versus 1 instead of 1 versus 1 for a little bit. And then they should have carried on around and actually focused fire into Veko. But all in all, I think TCM slightly better, but the reactionary play from Kazna crew was just spot on.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. Kazna looking great on the first map. Didn't make the initial move. That hill very early on, that stack coming out, the aggressive stack slipping through the side there. Got them the initial kill pretty much, taking down Elian, but then it just kind of fell to pieces. So great stuff to start off with all in all there. TCM not quite having what they wanted to deal with on that first map. Maybe that's going to upset some of your votes at home, guys. Maybe you need to keep that in mind here. Even though he said TCM might pick up the first map, mistakes were made. Kazna looking like they have that extra dimension of play that they can fall back on if necessary. Something I generally akin to the top teams when they can fall back on those slightly responsive plans. So, for example, losing your first player and then finding the weakness, utilizing it, and then carrying on from there. So, great start. And the now problem for me is the fact that we're going on to Ensk. Originally, I would have said this was one of the weaker maps for Kazna, because this is the one that did eventually get them that draw. It's kind of screwed them up a little bit going forward. It dented their confidence for a while. But then coming into this game now, picking up the first map in some great fashion, I'd say they'd be on a really good high point here for Kazna crew. And another city-based map, unless it's played in the green zone, which it does seem to be occasionally nowadays. Could look like it's a Kazna crew favoured position, but do you tend to agree, or do you think TCM might be able to kind of iron out the mistakes?
Yeah, TCM classically have always lost Himmelsdorf for some reason. They did the same against Virtus Pro. They had the good initial decision, but that initial decision and the initial push got them the advantage in terms of damage, but not in terms of positioning. So we can kind of wipe the first result out for TCM. It's Himmelsdorf. They're not particularly good. Ensk is a different story. They've been very competent on this one, but Kazna crew have been interesting. They kind of 50-50 results for them.
Miss, yeah.
Yeah, but I think, Kazna are generally looking like a very, very strong team, and they really do want to win against them. So triple AMX5100, double IS-3 for both teams, so standard lineup in that respect.
Well, I think we are now seconds away from finding out if this will be a 2-0 lead or a 1-1. So guys, let's get ready for that next map, Ensk. And welcome into battle number 2. Currently in the north in blue, it's Kazna crew with that 1-0 advantage after a great performance on Himmelsdorf, and in the south in red, it's TCM looking to draw things back all even. What are we seeing so far from Kazna?
So Elian and Crux going towards the hold down positions there, just to cross out, get the cross if TCM-Gaming do decide towards the green zone, which doesn't look like they're doing. They're more staying very static towards their base. Does the Nicta towards the left. Thoris is the only one really heading over, despite the fact that maybe didn't get the best position, the best spawn. Still going to be having to get that way. Magus on the left with a tier 1. Made a couple of mistakes in the previous matchup, wanting to make respite for that. Still Mojo gets spotted. Could be unfortunate for him. He gets caught out from the cross there. 406 damage once again. Still Mojo receives the first bit of damage.
Maybe the mental game of playing against one of your ex-teams is playing a little heavy on Still Mojo here. He's struggling to find that performance, so we can see him pulling off quite, on quite a regular occasion here. Magus gets tracked. German Braid not having all the best luck in the world there, but Still Mojo now waiting maybe for a little bit of a peek onto German Braid to get the shots off, but for a starting maneuver, oh my god, Magus, really? Really right now?
Wow.
So a 50, an IS3 is taking cover behind Magus at the moment because hell, why not, But
oh my god, it happens too much today whether the tier 1s have been tracked.
RNG, bro, RNG.
I mean, seriously. Ooh, German rates his call there, 3-4-1 onto him. So at the moment this is working, because second one could land as well, because he is spotted. He manages to get out of there just about. Magus doing fantastic shots. Thoris joins in, but still Mojo receives some damage. Elian does take down Magus.
Yeah, finally takes him down. Still Mojo did take a little bit of damage, and Crux showing up there, but I'm kind of interested by this stack towards the south, coming out from TCM, putting Thoris and Still Mojo out on a limb, shoving the corpse of Magus a little further forward. I feel kind of bad for the guy, but is from the grave, he's still useful. But all in all, what is this stack about down south?
They want to catch out Kazna crew, because they're expecting what you can have a look here. Basically, Kazna crew are going to work their way into the city. They're going to send the tier 1 first. The tier 1 of TCM-Gaming, Devil's going to take down the tier 1 pushing forwards, Cabrion. And then Kazna crew are going to push forwards, thinking that there's nothing else there. But there is, of course, two 5100s waiting, so they're going to be in a better position. And unfortunately, Kazna will be eliminated. Well, at least the two 5100 pushings will be eliminated. So that's the plan generally from TCM-Gaming. It's pretty ingenious, actually.
If it works.
That's a big question.
And
still Mojo receives one more shell.
I don't know what to say today. Still Mojo is...
We've got the Rage Finder working, but it's marginal.
Not really performing right now. He's struggling to get back on board, and here we go. Let's see if this plan works out. Devil did get spotted. He also spotted out Cobra Leone. So a bit of a back and forth here, and let's see if anyone's willing to take the bait. This is the big question here. We've got three 5100s waiting just steps away. This could start hurting.
Yeah, Veko's going to be reversing though. Not taking the bait so far, but does look quite tempted to go forwards.
Yeah.
The tanks on the left got spotted, and this may mean Veko actually takes the bait and just decide to push. But he is tentative and he is looking towards them. He does take down Devil. Fantastic reaction times there by Veko, but the two 5100s are going to start moving, I think. They would be stupid not to.
Well, here we go. Veko still maintaining the similar position here, backing away in a line. Eurofish does, and Wise Knee is now moving in. Let's see if they're going to catch up. 6 minutes and 15. Will they go for this?
Eurofish so retarded from Eurofish there, because basically they had all the time in the world to actually make that one happen, but they reacted late, and now Veko is going to be able to on a better position than Eurofish.
The plan was good. The execution pretty lacking, and Eurofish is taking a beating for this one. He finally gets one back, but as you can see, the other two 5100s have split off a little more aggressively, and Wesley is not getting much better luck. Taken quite low by German Braid, this three-man hit squad. Oh, the crossfire from Elian is sensational. Sublime shots, finish off Wisney, and now German Braid's in a little bit of trouble. Does split off towards the side on that west road, but still, at the moment, I've got to say, Kazna, even though they fell maybe into the trap, I still feel they've come off better here. Yeah,
German Braid's down to a one-shot though, but so is still Mojo, at least for an IS3. German Braid has to try and reverse out of here if he can. Does Anichta may have a couple of shells on that reload, but he's not going to go for it. So it should just be okay. Then the push is going to come from the Kazna crew down. Hyber joins in. Thoris receives the first shell.
Yeah, Thoris still sitting on decent HP. Still Mojo does kind of pull in his worth there, taking down Paluda. Only a tier 1, but still he's trying to get work in. We're seeing the retraction from those 5100s coming back round. Hopefully they can get into the battle because Kazna are looking like they're building up to maybe making their own move now. It's pretty much down to a 4v4. HP-wise, it's certainly in favor to Kazna, but still. Let's see how this one unfolds. Who do you feel is in the better spot here?
Kazna, for sure, they're quite pressed forwards. The only way they can lose is if they get surrounded. Thoris finds Elian.
Nice work from Thoris there. Nothing coming back towards him either. So maybe living to fight another day. They're quite spread out here, surprisingly. Still Mojo off towards the east side, Thoris more central, and then Durs and Eurofish over towards the west. So I'm a little surprised still Mojo so far on his own. Maybe try and stay alive, try and find cover, provide fire from afar rather than being in the battle as he is so low, as mentioned. Eurofish trying to support Thoris a little. Durs off towards the city side, maybe watching the push from this flank. And all in all, at the moment, Kazna does have the advantage, but whether or not they take this is a very different matter.
You have to be careful because the amount of damage Dozanicta can do, he's such a good player and he's still got 100% HP. But, Kazna, you can't ignore the fact that two of their IS-3s have also got a lot. Thoris gets one, as does Crooks, but Crooks gets a little bit unfortunate because the RNG roll goes towards him, and he gets fortunate with the shot full stop as well. Thoris will get the second shot. Third shot comes away, though, and that's going to be a bounce onto the side of the IS-3, the fantastic side armor of that tank, and Kazna crew mobilize a little bit more. Hyber's going to join in with Thoris in 3 minutes and 33 seconds. TCM are hanging on just by a thread, but Eurofish now heading around the corner. We do see the move. I tell a lie, they can push in. They need to find German Brait, who is completely on his own. You can check this out. Elian is going to be there in support, though, so they have to make this one work perfectly. This is going to be the problem for TCM-Gaming, this cover.
Yep, and well, Eurofish is going to try and peek round. He's currently found 3 players. German Brait does take one. Eurofish takes a little more. Gonna have to back out of this. Durs still sitting pretty, doing the damage from afar. Durs is doing the work, but can they make this count? Eurofish finally goes down to Elian. Lack of commitment, lack of focus is catching them out here. Durs finally steps up, takes down Elian, but look at the damage done. Look at the HP left on TCM. This is not what they wanted from that exchange.
Unnecessary once again for Durs and Ichter to die then, for Eurofish to die then. He could have stayed alive, but he went for the peak again. He should have let it to Durs and Ichter because he wasn't a one-shot. Eurofish was. That was completely unnecessary. Now Hyber can go forwards. Still got a lot of HP to play with, 946. Thoris, though, in the middle, still doing a good job against Crooks. I think Thoris might just be a little bit of a better player, but Thoris finds Crux. Crux finds Thoris even.
Thoris taking another shell there. They're all down so low. Still Mojo now looks like he's got the better HP of the lot, and he was the one who was the initial issue. So now we are seeing Kazna crew basically on the hunt here. They're looking around. Hyber's found Thoris. He goes down. And now the last 2 standing players have been spotted. Durs is not going down without a fight, but he's down to 93 HP. That is nothing. And 2 minutes is a long time for Still Mojo to try and outrun Hyber. His old teammates coming in now to deal just so much damage. And the final blow comes out from Hyber that takes down Still Mojo. Durs is now the last man standing. 1v2. Cap also started. Crux looks like he wants to end it, and he does. Puts him out of his misery, and another victory for Kazna on Ensk. And this is just so many mistakes built up then from TCM again.
Yeah.
I thought the first map they'd learn from. They go, okay, all right, we made the initial move, then we made a couple of mistakes, and it cost us the game. Let's make sure we're playing 100%. And then the same sort of issues kind of cropped up. The lack of focus fire, the wrong people peeking, lacks of discipline on players, going over aggressive a little. It's something I don't expect to see from teams like TCM. They're a very disciplined bunch normally. They play a smart game. They're not doing that today, though.
No, they're really shaky and seems like they're nervous. But I want to break down that a little bit because the first mistake was that Still Mojo wasn't close enough to Magus. He took way too much damage at the beginning, but that happens. I guess he got himself into a decent position. Second mistake was those 2 5100s. Basically, Veko peaked. The T1 peaked, Veko killed him. And then those 2 5100s should have just been boom, straight onto Veko. Just absolutely destroy him. But they were so late to the party when they made that decision 5 seconds later. Veko was already around the corner and in a better position than Eurofish. So he did 2 shots, Eurofish only got 1 back. So that was about 600 HP. 300 HP in favor for Eurofish. You can see this here. Why is Eurofish peeking so late? Then why is Yizny comes around? Hyber's in support there as well. Elian is there. You know, you have the whole of Kazna crew just surrounding them. Yizny's completely out of position because he doesn't go forwards. You know, those two there, alongside a Eurofish, should be able to win this because it's 3 versus 2. Does get it back a little bit. I have to say, at the moment, Does is the only good player in TCM Gaming. He's the only one who's on point 100% of the time, because everyone else is lacking, and I'm pretty sure it's going to show in the damage. I mean, I have a quick look through Ensk.
Yeah.
Does sitting up there with 2.5k, and on the previous matchup, Does sitting there with 1,000, but not that much below Eurofish, who was the highest on Himmelsdorf.
Let's look at it this way then. If we look at the players who, on TCM, who don't have a grudge match essentially against the opponents, it'd probably be Does. He's a newer addition. He doesn't have anything. Well, he wants to prove himself, obviously, which he's doing, but he doesn't have that real pressure to perform. Still, Mojo, on the other hand, who left the team they're now playing to join TCM, or got kicked, whichever way it went down, he has pressure to perform here. If he doesn't, then it looks like he's made the mistake. And you can look throughout these teams and look at previous seasons, how close these two teams used to be. And in performance alone, I'd say TCM was substantially better early season than Kazna were, generally outperforming them. These days, it's not the case. And at the moment, TCM are crumbling under the pressure that Kazna crew are putting on them. And Kazna aren't even making that many opening moves. It's more like, okay, let's let TCM make that opening. They'll make a mistake, and we will just punish it. And that's what happens with good leadership and good coordination and smart play. You don't have to necessarily go for the big opening plays. You can wait to see it come in towards you and be like, okay, well, they're going to go for this. Okay, well, where's the weakness in that? There. Okay, let's exploit it. Or, oh, wow, the player's just peeked out again when he's a one-shot. Sure, I'll kill you if you really want. It's kind more than anything, but right now, TCM normally at this point would start throwing the game. Sadly, they don't have a game to throw at the moment. They've not even won a map, which is quite surprising. Normally, they're the team that starts off brilliantly from the start and then might slip towards the end. This time, Kazna haven't even let them get close to picking up a map so far. It may have looked a little closer than it actually was in some points in that matchup, but next map being Mines. Does this even help TCM at all?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I can't tell. I mean, Kazna crew have been pretty shaky on Mines, but as is TCM, I'm just not a massive fan of these two on this map at all. But I just want to go back to quickly a point you've said. TCM have had a couple of maps now where they've tried something which is, on paper it's pretty cool, and I imagine it works in scrims, and it's nice to see. But you have to bear in mind, Kazna crew have not done anything at the moment. They've made no opening
reactionary
moves. They've been completely reacting towards TCM, and in both games they've won on HP, both on Himmelsdorf and on Ensk. They had more HP, so they won the game because they could do the damage, and TCM couldn't. They couldn't peek, they couldn't do the damage, and that's what the Kazna crew are doing really well at the moment. They're just waiting for TCM to make the mistake, which is obviously a very good thing, and it does take, as you said, good leadership for that to happen. But we have got the lineup in for Kazna crew on Mine, starting from the south. Double T32, AMX 5100, double MX 3090, double tier 1. So Kazna now only need to draw one map for them to actually guarantee at least 1 point. And TCM desperately need to win this one. T32, IS3, AMX 3090, T69, AMX 5100 for TCM Gaming. Both teams have a bit of a strange lineup. Not sure how the IS3 is going to work out. Worked for Virtus Pro, so for TCM it could also work.
We'll have to see. They're going to have to deal with that double T32 stack there. I believe both teams are ready. So guys, let's get ourselves rolling towards the next match. And welcome into the third map. As stated, it is Mines, and in the south in blue it will be Kazna crew looking to either draw this map out or go for the win. In the north in red it will be TCM having to do something here. Having two maps against them is not what they wanted, but what are we seeing so far? from Kazna.
So Kazna, unusually with the two T-32s going forwards, Elian and Crux going to be getting the low position. We saw from the previous matchup, at least for Denial, they put the T-32s behind there, but Kazna are a different team, a different breed. And for TCM Gaming, much of the same, just from the north. Heavy tanks towards the middle is the name of the game for them. Still Mojo going forwards, probably in the better position right now. Thoris towards the right as well. And TCM do spot out the first tank in the form of Hyber on the Lighthouse Island.
Yeah, Hyber could be in trouble there. Thoris and Still Mojo looking like they want to make the shot. Thoris is actually pushing up for this, so confident they're going to have this middle ground. Maybe not expecting the fact that the two T-32s are so close, but nevertheless, they're going to find out pretty damn soon, because Crux and Elian peer up and do not a great deal of damage, actually. Crux just takes one. So, at the moment, see who can really bring this one home. Those two 32s we generally see in a passive position. This time, happy to get them a little bit more aggressively pushed up. Elian and Crux looking to do some work.
Some pressure from Elian and Crux. Didn't work last time. I have to say they got focused down really, really quickly.
Yeah.
I think that was actually TCM, but just from the south. They're playing the same kind of tactic as Kazna, so I have to see how that works. These two have obviously learned their lesson, as you know, previously they were up here, now they're down here. It does give Still Mojo a little bit of an opening to go forwards. Bounces on the mantlet of Elian there, so these two are going to be able to go forwards, but Crux needs to find the commander's hatch, which is still pretty hard to penetrate on the T-32. Crux misses, as does Still Mojo, and everything still purty for Kazna crew, but pressure is seeping slowly from TCM, and at the moment Still Mojo is keeping all down. Thoris does peek, finds him only for 307 damage. That's the lowest roll I've seen in a long time from an IS-3. Eurofish finds Cobra in that tier 1.
Yeah, so early opening work, I'd still say, would be TCM putting the pressure there. Nice work from them. Only Eurofish really taking damage, and Crux receiving a hell of a lot more. Still Mojo out on a limb, but certainly supported at least by Thoris this time in that IS-3. So nicely worked out from him. Joe and Bray even takes one there.
355 off this, and looking good for TCM Gaming. Finally getting some initial damage, unlike the other way around. It's been good for them. Elian, Crux even, and German Bray down almost to below 1000 HP, at least for Crux in that T-32, but there's still the high HP tanks. You want to be getting the low HP tanks down at the beginning at least. And it's going to force Kazna crew to go back quite a lot and retreat. I don't want to go too far forwards, but for them the options are very limited because they have picked up a very slow lineup. TCM can pretty much say, we're the king of the hills, we're going to stay here, and that's where we're going to play it from. And Kazna crew with the T-32s, that's their only option as well, but they've lost that one out to TCM Gaming, so they can only go forwards and try and put some pressure on, but they're going to be punished for that. The MX-3090s are too far over towards the island to actually make anything happen. Hyber has to be very careful because he's got Durs and Nikta right there. So as soon as he makes that shot, he'll be spotted, and TCM Gaming could find a way around onto him. DJ Red Deep, keeping them 50-meter proxy spotted. So if you go forwards, you get spotted by Durs. If you go backwards, you get spotted by the DJ Red Deep. So TCM certainly in the driving seat. 6 minutes and 10 seconds left. Hyber knows he's in danger. He's going to be running off that lighthouse island. Probably going to be looking for a move either onto the hill or through that village area.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see how this one plays through, because TCM do have the advantage. So I'll be interested to see if they can actually make a full push and play out of this. Bearing in mind, so far it's not gone too well for them when they've had to make the first move. But you know, this is the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes you got to just be ready for it. And Thoris in the IS-3 actually coming over towards the village side, maybe expecting a counterplay, or just wants to get in a position he can do some work from. Therefore, moving Durs up a little, maybe to leave Still Mojo less on a limb. But actually, he's going around the hill as well. So unique positioning coming out from TCM here.
Hyber going to be heading towards the cap as well. Joe and Bray obviously in support, but looks like Kazna crew are aware, or at least have an inkling of the fact that TCM want to go for that flank from the village area. I'm not sure what they're going to do exactly to react that. Hyber looks a little bit unsure. He was going to go towards the cap, but instead joins German Brait. So at the moment, yeah, in general, Kazna crew don't really know what to expect. They're kind of floundering in deep water, and they might sink if TCM Gaming find the way in. DJ Red Deep heads up maybe towards the lighthouse, or at least hold down in a good position, but 5 minutes is what TCM has to do something here. Kazna crew have been the better team so far, but all in all, TCM Gaming still have a lot of bark to their bite.
And they're currently stacking up players, but the timing could be terrible if, excuse me, Kazna crew make a move through that middle section.
Crooks also receiving another shell. Good focus fire. I mean, Elian receiving a shell. Good focus fire. Still Mojo, a second one. All those mistakes he made in the first two matches, seems like he's alleviated them. 2 T-32s now down to half HP thanks to him. Thorus getting spotted up there on the right. That's not good stuff for TCM Gaming because their move might get caught out. Veko going to be rotating back around, and this looks like the move from Kazna crew onto the hill. Yeah,
and this should be a great timing for it. As long as they can pull this off, they need to take down Still Mojo pretty damn fast. Let's bear in mind, DJ Radip is still here. He moved off the hill and came into support. Still Mojo is going to town, bouncing every shell. Hybers is not connecting, and finally the cavalry may arrive pretty damn soon. They got on a counterplay, so Still Mojo and DJ Radip are going to be out here for some time, but Still Mojo is not flinching. He is standing his ground, finally goes down to Elian, but my god, that took some time. And now the push continues. Kazna not done just yet. DJ Radip takes 2 back-to-back. There's the third, there's the fourth. Fifth is going to seal the deal, but we see the counter cap starting up, and here comes the rest of the cavalry.
Yeah, they're going to be charging over the hill. There's a lot of damage done by TCM Gaming at the least, but it's still going to be hard for them getting this game because German Brait and Veko are there in support. Crooks does get found, unlucky for Durs.
Yeah, Durs moves up, claims that one. Veko now in a little bit of trouble, out in no man's land. Gonna be focused. Let's see if he can get out of this one.
Yeah, Veko going in. Veko getting tracked for the second time. He's not going to be able to get away with this one. Look at the damage. Veko goes down. German Brait is on the reload, so Durs and Nichter going forwards, and the pressure from TCM is insane.
They are not stopping at all. 2 minutes left, 56 on the cap. German Brait trying to get out of there, and we're seeing Hyber coming in from the back. Taken down by Thorus as Elian now in a 1v2. This game has gone from bad to worse for TCM. Sorry, Kazna, but can they keep doing this? Elian in a 1v1 with Thorus, trying to get around that backside of the IS-3, trying to find a way around. The cap did get stopped. Battle gets reset. German Brait in that 5100 finally coming into play. He is a big factor in this. He could turn this one around. He's being kited by Thorus. Oh, the shells are bouncing. This is not going perfectly. 2v1 here. Elian now in trouble. Thorus has come around. He's in the right position. Oh, and Thorus takes him down. Down to a 1v2 to 3. Kazna and German Brait are in trouble.
Pilauda needs to be careful. German Brait, I think he has at least 4 shells. Thorus needs to go first because he is in the IS-3. So much HP. German Brait has to prove his mettle here.
German Brait is now surrounded. He's got Thorus coming up first. Thorus goes in. Gets the first little bit of damage. Just ram each other out. Durs coming around with the shot. Durs going to land the shot. Can he follow it up? Oh, there we go. Thorus claims it and then steals that one away and just leaves Paluda alive. And I don't think he can do much here.
No, he's got Thorus to find, and you can't even penetrate the back of the IS-3 with the tier 1. The 20mm Spano won't do much. He gets brutally, clinically destroyed there by Thorus. And what a game from TCM Gaming, and maybe one of the best games I've seen all season.
That was a little unique, to say the very least, as well.
That was messy as hell.
Because step by step, that was not the normal mines we ever see.
No.
For starters, let's just look at how they started out. The double T-32 was not defensive. They pushed up. But then take me from, step by step what happened with TCM. Because they went around and then came back and it was this kind of baffling play.
It actually went really well for Kazna crew, and it didn't really work out for TCM Gaming at the beginning. Kazna went forwards. They took down Still Mojo very well. They had DJ Radip on the left, I think it was. It was DJ Radip on the left. So they took down the 2-1s. 2 tanks went down against TCM Gaming before they did anything. But because of the amount of damage Still Mojo did onto those 2 T-32s, when they did push, it went perfectly for them. They split Kazna crew right in half. The reloads went in their favor as well. And I'm going to just jump through all the damage because it does give you a good picture as well. 2.5k from Thorus in the IS-3.
Picking up 4 kills.
4 frags to his name. Closely followed by Still Mojo at the beginning doing 2.3k. Remember, he died after about 5 minutes. He still had about 3 minutes of game time. And DJ Radip in that T69 did 259 damage, only 1 shell penetrated for him. So the amount of damage done by those top 2 players gave TCM Gaming that win. And Kazna crew didn't play badly. It was just Thorus's play alongside Still Mojo's play that won it for them.
Yeah, it was a really unique way of playing mines. I don't think I ever expected it to be played out that, quite honestly. And it's such a pivotal point for TCM as well. They were... Well, they still are on the verge of losing this, but they had the guts to go for something different, go for something unique, and it paid out very nicely for them. Next map being Steps, though. I worry here for a little bit for Kazna because TCM have always played this quite well. You know, they undid Lucky Karaki here. Magus in that tier 1 consistently spotting out every single plan that Lucky Karaki tried to bring into effect. And I worry that Kazna may struggle to close this game out now because TCM, once their confidence starts rolling, they can do pretty good here. So who do you think has the edge coming into this one?
I've loved TCM-Gaming on steps. They've been very good. Lucky Karaki fell to them. But it's a hard one to win if Kazna Crew really want to draw it. And now they've lost their minds. They're thinking to themselves, okay, we've got 2 more battles left. Steps is one we can draw out pretty easily. So TCM come to us. And very minimum, we're going to get 1 point away from this one. They obviously got to look towards that 5th map as well. If that 5th map's one they can also draw, perhaps that's their game plan in general, and definitely the sensible and logical one for them to take. As a team captain and as someone who, you know, thinking about the offline finals, Kazna Crew need 1 more win basically to qualify. They pretty much 100% qualify if they win against TCM-Gaming here. So I would be thinking about that a lot as a team right now.
Well, hopefully that is in the forefront of their minds because it is about the bigger picture. All in all, tank choices coming up. I'm kind of interested to see what they go for because, you know, we've seen slight variation. We saw the IS-3 coming into effect on the map just past, the T32 as well. You know, some variation is coming into play. I'm looking to see what they actually bring into this one because, you know, it's a map that's an open canvas, essentially. It can be played out however you want to. But is this the time to test something new?
I don't think it's the time to test something new. I think this is the time to get your coordination and your communication perfect. As I said before, the same as goes for Evil Panda Squad and Denal Esports, goes for TCM-Gaming and Kazna Crew. You need to get the synergy perfect when you're pushing on steps. The Tampics are starting to flow in here. Vetco and Hyber picking the MX-3090s. For me, Hyber's always been a better T69 player. So
I agree.
Maybe Crooks is taking that spot from Elian, of course, very good in T69.
In the T69.
I do as well.
Because it was always Abby that just defined Kazna to me originally, that gave me... I love the way Kazna Crew play, by the way. I've always liked them, especially when Abby was in rotation. Hyber was such a defining factor. He was such a big player in that T69. He always pulled off brilliant damage, brilliant positioning, fully utilizing, you know, the brilliance of that T69. And it's a shame to see him shying away from it. He even started picking up the 1390 on Abby itself, even though he was such a prolific player there. So maybe it's just the style they're bringing out. And actually, there's no T69 so far in play for Kazna here, so maybe not liking that tank at all. Yeah,
that's probably one of the reasons why Hyber's picking the MX-3090. So final lineup for Kazna Crew, the T32x2, double AMX-3090 Pershing, double tier 1. So, you know, as I was talking about the draw, a very good option for Kazna Crew. This is probably why they're picking such a heavy lineup. The 2 American tanks and the Pershing, obviously very, very strong. Although the 2 didn't work out on mines either, which could be argued is quite an easy one to draw as well. The MX-3090 just gives you that roaming ability, and TCM-Gaming still undecided as what their lineup is going to be, but at least does Anichta, Eurofish, going to be picking those AMX-3090s up, and DJ Red Deep in the T69, of course. Still Mojo Devil in the tier 1s. Last 3 tanks. Thoris does Anichta in the MX-3090 and Yizny in the T69, making TCM-Gaming's final lineup a very aggressive and definitely probing one.
Wow,
triple MX-3090, double T69, double tier 1.
Well, this could be a brilliant game to watch. We said this was the game of the day, and they're certainly living up to that. So let's get ready for the next map, Steps. And welcome into battle number 4. Steps now coming up in the south in blue. It's Kazna Crew. In the north in red, it's TCM. And currently, Kazna Crew still having the advantage of 2 maps to 1, but TCM certainly looking to turn this one around. So what are we going to see from the very start here?
I'm not sure. It's been such a strange few matches. I really have no idea. But Kazna Crew in general look like they want to head towards the trench side. Elian, Hyeva, Pilauda, Vecco, Germbreak, Cobra, and Crux all heading that way. The only one who's not pretty much going to go there is obviously Cobra, who's going to go up. And for TCM-Gaming, a bit like Evil Panda Squad and Denal, they're going to be going right side as did Evil Panda Squad. So a standard start from TCM. They like to go on the right side even from the north. but I'm not sure. This is going to be a very interesting game for me. This is pretty similar to what Virtus Pro did against Dream Leprechauns, and to be honest, Dream Leprechauns did a good job. They just messed up a couple of the communication issues, and they just couldn't quite get the coordination right, but they did have the advantage, so TCM might be taking a leaf out of their book.
Well, we'll see how that comes into effect. 9 minutes left for a move to really happen. A couple of blind shots coming out, as you can see. Joe and Brait being one of those in that T-32, letting them fly, and respectively, Deep doing the same over on the TCM side. Your Fish and Still Mojo just gaining some ground down that 1 and 2 line. Happy to get a little aggressive, but not too much. Just probing away. But then again, we expected a little bit more of a passive kind of start from Kazna here. As you said, they can draw this out if they need to. And at the moment, it doesn't look like they go for the draw necessarily, but they're being safe.
Yeah, Kazna crew are just going to try and get the trench side. We've seen this from loads of teams. You edge forwards, basically, you know. You don't want to be driving into a load of tanks randomly who are hiding somewhere. Just make sure you're doing everything like consistently and iteratively. But Kazna crew do have the right side. Veko is going to be supporting Elian, and indeed, Kazna quite defensive at this point in time. Joe and Brait going left, supporting Palauda, the 2 tier 1s, of course, towards the cap. And maybe that's what this map's going to come down to, a cap race. I've got a funny feeling, you know, Magus sitting where he was. It does say, okay, we're keeping the tier 1 there because we don't want to push there, but we want the information coming from that location.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how that one pans out, actually. And it looks like these guys are pushing up a little here. Still Mojo is leading that charge just a touch in that tier 1, but you know, it's been extremes for Still Mojo as well. He's either been the losing factor or the winning factor with TCM. Maybe a little harsh from me, but still, he's certainly been a prolific player. They have spread out Crux. Veko let himself be known, firing off a couple of shells from that 1390 and reciprocated by Eurofish. He's trying to find these blind fire shots, finding out if there's a tier 1 down by the south of the map. Still Mojo can continue forward, as you can see Eurofish from above. Just letting the shots fly. Nothing connecting so far. There is a tier 1 back here. I believe that'll be Cobra Leone, but still, 7 minutes on the board. We've got a lot of time left to work with. We're actually seeing the retraction back from TCM. Maybe expecting a bit of a play from Kazna, or just trying to be safe themselves.
Yeah, TCM a little bit undecided of what they want to do, I think. They saw the shots going towards Magus, and Magus said, okay, so we need some support here. And also the fact that they didn't actually discover anything from the north, from the south even. And if you don't discover anything there, you can pretty much be certain that there's not going to be a combat tank right there, but there's going to be a tier 1. Because if there was a combat tank, there wouldn't be a tier 1. There would be no need for that tank to be there. So you can kind of go through this process, and World Tanks is, it looks simple on the face of it, but it really isn't. It's insane what these guys are calling and what they're talking about. Magus getting spotted out there. What, you know, they're going to be saying, Magus, 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 you know. What can we do? Where is he? Why is he there? What should we do after that? You know, if he goes down, what can we do? Do we go after him now? You know, all these things are going through this guy's minds, and it just become a very, you know, delicate situation, a very hard equation to balance in general for both these teams. And it's about those small victories that do lead up to the overall end result, you know. But 6 minutes just about gone. And TCM-Gaming still need to win this one.
Eurofish up here with Still Mojo. And literally everybody else back here. Do you think they're trying to bait out Kazna crew to go for a push towards the cap?
It's interesting. So we've seen on steps, like, quite a lot of teams go for that double push where you send 2 MX-3090s from one location and you send 1 across, but they all end up pushing in the same area. So you kind of get this situation when you're having to turn your turret one direction, you turn it the other direction, and it can actually find quite a few tanks. But Cobra Leone, I believe he spots out Still Mojo in a tier 1 at least, and that's going to give Still Mojo Eurofish some good information, because, well, Still Mojo wouldn't be spotted unless there was a tier 1. Cobra Leone looking for a couple of shots, but a 20mm Spano, and he has a 300m max range, so even if he does you know, shoot, you might not actually be able to hit him at all, as the bullets will just disappear into thin air.
So Eurofish still toying with the idea of going for a push, or at least pushing forward a little more, because it looks like TCM are in the position they want, as they're not moving any further. We are seeing Still Mojo actually falling back a little. We are seeing now the appearance of at least one more tank of Crux. We've seen Crux before, though. It's nothing new. Information-wise, Eurofish is moving up here. Maybe hunting out that tier 1, and as soon as he finds him, there we go. Cobra Leon has been spotted now. And there is a counterplay coming around. Let's see if we can take him down in one shot. Wow. Wow, Eurofish taking actually some very good damage from Cobra Leon, and Hyber's following, but now we're seeing the counterplay. Thoris, DJ Deep, Durs, Wisney, all pushing off and heading back down south.
German Brait's going to be replacing Hyber in that position. I believe does Eurofish need to reload, but one shell was actually a pretty good exchange for Cobra there.
Yeah.
Stone Mojo keeping a good eye. German Brait still looking for a shot onto him, but at the moment TCM are looking like they want to win this game. Kazna crew look like they just want to draw it out and hang on, and TCM definitely going to come from the south alongside Eurofish, because he did take down that tier 1, leaving that flank vulnerable. And I honestly think, as I said at the beginning, the cap is the option for TCM.
And at the moment, they're gaining ground towards it. Look at these guys. They are rolling in with a purpose. Wisney, DJ Deep, Durs, Thoris, all heading towards the southern side. And I want to see if they actually really go for this. Still Mojo looking like he's going to be the one heading towards the cap. You can see how vital it was that he dodged those shots earlier coming in. That was huge play. And is there anyone actually fallen back so far for Kazna?
No, they're out of position. Hyber's the only one that close. And this is where the T-32s are actually the bad tanks for this one, because they are so slow. It's going to be a long time to get in position, and 3 tanks for TCM in the cap.
Yeah, Thoris and Durs just shifting past, but they're going aggressive here. They're not just playing for the cap. They're looking like they won the fight.
Yeah, German Brait is going to be trying to do anything he can to stay this one on. Hyber's on a limb though. The 2 MX-39's got to be very good position. JJ Red Deep does take a bit of damage from the left. Yisny though in support.
Let's see if he can stay alive in this one. Hyber's already been found by the 2 3090s. Sprint off on their own. Hyber is gonna fall. Wisely does take him down, but Durs receiving a lot of damage here. Need to be careful, get down this defilade of the hill, find a little bit of cover, and reset that fight. Still Mojo did back out of that cap, still alive, bearing in mind. And Magus still an option too, playing passively, playing smart. So now let's see what's left on the board for TCM here. What can they do now?
Eurofish needs to get into a position where he can shoot and not get spotted, because he did take a lot of damage. Oh, he does find it. 2-4-3 onto German Brait. Those two need to reverse as they're getting a bit of a pummeling.
Yeah, and DJ this time going back in that cap circle, making sure the attention is constantly going to be coming in towards them. And look at that, they're stacking it off. Veko trying to move up, but still Mojo has cover in the form of DJ Deep. Wisney is not far away either. Eurofish, Durs and Thoris all still in position. This is a good setup.
Yeah, German Brait gets the shot. 298 damage onto DJ Red Deep. Couple of bounces, about 8 seconds on the reload for that T-32.
And let's see if he can stay alive here. DJ Deep down a big chunk of HP being taken away. 4, 6, 7 left on him. Elian is the one taking these shots. Nice work taking down Still Mojo. DJ Deep now the only one in that cap circle. Down to a 1-shot. 1-2-1 on towards him. The fire coming out. He tries to take on Alien. Gets denied. And Elian does the job. He's now being pushed by Wisey. Needs to be a little careful here, TCM. They can't let this slip. Eurofish is low. Thoris is not sitting too pretty. And Durs might be in trouble as well. We are finally seeing the counter push from Kazna.
Yeah, they're going for the cap, but it's too late for that. Elian has to be careful. He did such a good job of resetting that. But TCM could have done much more, because the T1 went backwards, it would have got caught. It went forwards, it got caught. Veko, Elian on Yisny.
Yeah, German Brait finding Eurofish as well. This is looking slightly worse for TCM. They need to be careful. You can't get these guys back in the game. Wisney's been caught out. Veko on the flank, going around the backside, gets one more shell and he'll get him down. Wisey not going down with that fight, but finally gets taken down here. Durs laying down the fire from afar, gets the connection. And this is a close game. Magus has now been spotted out, I can imagine. Thoris and Durs need to play smart tanks.
Yeah, got to stay alive, Magus. Palauda, that's the real question. Who can win this game? Because I think the two front up there might go down. 22 seconds left on this clock. Crooks and German Brait have to play this perfectly. 2 versus 2.
Yeah, German Brait's not going to mess that one up. Comes in, takes down Durs. Thoris, though, trying to find a little bit of fire here. Gets Crooks once, gets 2. But German Brait now moving in with the damage. Oh, nice work from Thoris, but one more shell will take him down. Paluda's found Magus. This is all on Thoris now. 3 seconds left. German Brait needs to land the shell. 1 second. Oh my god, he's done and saved the day. It's a draw overall. My god, that was down to 1 second.
That was insane. Just breaking that one down. So TCM, I told you they were going to go for the cap every single day of the week, but you know what the problem was? Elian was playing that Pershing, and I don't think I would have had any other tank in that position because it's so accurate. He could hit the tier 1 in a perfect place. And you know, TCM, if they managed to keep that tier 1 there and alive, it would have been a win for them. But they couldn't because Elian was free to roam on the right. TCM should have put a tank more into position of dealing with that one instead of Yizny going so far back in such a defensive position, because where he was, it was a little bit pointless unless those T-32s went really far forwards.
Yeah.
He should have been more towards the middle. But it was a risky move. Didn't work out for TCM, obviously. But Kazna doing, once again, a great job of hitting those shots when they need to. But this is the thing. Would any other player from Kazna crew, would they have been able to hit that shot Elian made?
It's a question that we'll eventually see, come into the forefront, maybe against more opponents, different opponents, because it will be a defining factor. And the reason I was smiling earlier was just because I could see that Cliff will be the defining map between these two, and a map that polarizes gameplay in such a polarizing point. So, for example, Kazna will still sit on a 2-1 advantage. The best thing TCM can do now is walk away with a draw if they pick up this map. Now, this map used to be played out very passively by Kazna crew. They lost this map several times with this passive stance because teams went aggressive, playing for the victory. So I'm going to be interested to see how Kazna now play this, even whichever side they start on. If they go for the passive stance, playing out, maybe hoping that they can get the win overall if it's a draw, which would happen, or if they actually go for the victory here to make sure they deny TCM the chance to build up to it, because TCM were close then, to be fair, to picking that game up through and through. If Elian didn't land that shot, if other small factors didn't fall into place, it could have been a different outcome. This would be very defining to if Kazna crew are actually changing their gameplay here, because that map has changed since the first couple of times we saw it. EU teams clearly learning how it kind of shapes up, how it forms, what way to play it out, in what position. I'll be very interested now to see how Kazna play this. Do you think we might see an aggressive Kazna, or will this be the passive Kazna who might get caught out?
And by definition, by extension, will TCM-Gaming be able to predict that Kazna crew go aggressive? Because
that's a very
they've
good point,
been caught
actually.
out by Denali Esports on the aggression on the cliff. So if TCM-Gaming know that, then they might be able to counter Kazna. But I don't think Kazna is going to do that. I think the best option for them would be just to play as standard as possible till they get to the point where TCM-Gaming have to push like they did on Steps, and then they can either win it by beating the push or just draw it out and win it by just the results they've had before. That's
a really good point, actually. We've got a lot of factors coming into this final matchup. The tanks will tell us a little bit, but generally you can imagine T69s, 1390s, and maybe a 416, maybe, coming into effect. Or at least I'd assume in this one. We might see a little bit of variation, but that's generally what we've kind of gotten used to seeing here. And is there a team who's better on this than the other? I kind of feel TCM's a little better. I don't know why. I think I was just a little bit unimpressed with Kazna's performance in their defensive stance. I've got to say, I really wasn't a fan of how they performed on it.
They're a little bit lackluster, both of them. TCM against Denali Sports just got caught out basically on aggression, and then previously I think it was against Lucky Cracky. They actually ended up losing that matchup. They put the two I3s from the north just below that kind of rocky area, and it just wasn't good stuff all around. For me, the real question is who starts from the north, because I think that's the team that's going to end up losing. It's hard to play Cliff in the north. Obviously 9.2 is supposed to be out today in public test. I haven't checked it. And that's going to be changing the map quite a lot. Not going to make a massive deal onto this season, because obviously the team needs to practice it. We've only got a few more match days. But at the offline finals, Cliff will still remain as a map, and I think it'll be even more balanced than it is now. So probably going to turn in from maybe my third favourite map behind Ensk and Himmelsdorf to perhaps my first favourite map when the north gets a little bit more balanced.
Yeah, that'll be actually really interesting to see, and hopefully that'll come into effect. We are seeing the tanks coming through, and it's pretty much the selection of what we expected, T69s and 1390s. But it's all about how they get played. Who do you think is going to pick this one up?
I can't call it. I honestly can't. I have never seen a good TCM on Cliff. I have rarely seen a good Kazna crew.
Kazna.
They lost against Wusa on Cliff. They're sitting right at the bottom of the table. So, neither two teams been good here. Which one's going to be the best of a bad bunch?
We're going to have to wait and see. Guys, we are ready to go into our final map here. It's going to be Cliff. I cannot wait for this. And the teams, I think, they are ready. So the guys, let's get that video rolling. Indeed, let's get this show on the road. So we are coming into battle number 5. We are here on Cliff in the north in blue. It's Kazna currently leading 2-1 against TCM in the south in red. And what sort of start are these two bringing out?
For me, it's interesting if Crux goes right, but it doesn't look like it. So I think the early aggression. Oh, he actually destroys that tree. But the early aggression, I think, is going to come out from Kazna crew. The 3 MX-3090s going forwards. Excuse me, the 4 MX-3090s going forwards. So TCM-Gaming might have to be careful, but they've also got 4 of their own who are also going pretty aggressive. Eurofish going left. The reload's just coming out off these tanks, so everyone in the right position. Miss comes out. Second one does penetrate, so first damage goes towards Kazna crew.
Yeah, Durs landing that one. Of course he'll be that man to do it. And now we might see some trouble towards Eurofish. He is the man who'll be the first in the action. He could easily roll off this hill, however, so not the worst in the world. We might have to see a counterplay coming out now from TCM. Look at the stack TCM are doing here as well. This is unbelievable. 4 players just sitting right around this spot, and they have lost complete vision on the opponents. They can still guess they're over here. But this is a definite change up from Kazna.
That was a risky play, though, by Eurofish, sitting where he is. It's not known. Crux trying to hit that shell, doesn't get it. Trying to get the pixel shot. Second one also missing. Eurofish having to scamper down there. And that's really, really bad for TCM. It might cause Kazna crew just to push straight through the middle. But the problem is, Kazna have the MX-3090s here. If they had them here, it would have been another story, and they might be able to push straight across and go for the push.
TCM responding in kind with their own unique play. Working around that northeast side, DJ Deep, Durs, Wisney, Thoris, all here. Just the tier 1s being left behind right now. Where are they heading off to?
No. Ooh, Elian, it's in a good position. All he needs to do is peek, and he'll know that TCM-Gaming aren't in the position they should do. But yeah, the push from TCM-Gaming going all the way around, that's going to be a good one if they can actually make that work. They need to find it on the back. This reminds me a bit of Fnatic's play on this map. Didn't go well against the Southeast Asian teams. Cobra also going a little bit low, goes down. First frag goes to TCM.
But look at these two, Wisney and Thoris. This
Ninjas.
is dangerous.
Ninjas.
Not spotted out. Finally catching glimpse of Veko and Hyber. This could change things though. Let's see how they respond here. Fire comes back and forth between these two. This could go very wrong. Thoris caught on the side from Crux. That T69 has the gun depression to make this hurt. Crux going around. Thoris takes 2. That's Elian chiming in, and it's Hyber to claim the kill. This is unbelievable stuff. Paluda finds Magus, and DJ Deep is nowhere to be found. Still Mojo on his own out here. And why is Eurofish back in this position? They've split themselves up here. A bit of a reverse of the 1390 split, using 3 rather than 2. But it's gone just as badly.
Still, TCM thought that the whole of Kazna crew were here, but they weren't. Veko, Hyber in the perfect positions up there. So first real combat tank going down. Also, the cap's going to be underway for TCM as Still Mojo does head into there. Plowder just head into there. So Hyber going to be in support, trying to take down Still Mojo. That's the next target. But 6 minutes and 48 seconds, and Hyber in support. I don't see how TCM can get back from this.
Well, let's find out. TCM retracting away from that area, but look how far out. They've got this big ground to get past, which is just completely covered by Kazna crew players. You've got to be careful now coming into this, guys. If they keep being able to apply the pressure towards the cap, they're in trouble. Eurofish is absolutely vital to this one now. He's the one in the position that can still save that cap circle if necessary. Already taken a lot of damage, though. It could spell trouble. Elian's
got the perfect position. I mean, really, when you get on the top of the lighthouse, it's quite often game over.
God, blind shots, still landing.
Yeah, Elian making the blind shot, perfect stuff from him, and yeah, Eurofish turned down. But look, the push comes from TCM-Gaming. Now they know that Elian is a little bit on the hill and unsupporting of his whole team.
Well, let's see if they can make it count. We already see the retraction back from Kazna. DJ Deep is moving in towards German Brait, and a little bit of fire coming across from the likes of Durs and Wisney. And let's see if they can get this one going. Right now, DJ Deep has found German Brait, and German Brait is looking tasty for the taking. Durs will claim it, and Wisney now takes a lot of damage back, though, so he's down a good chunk of health, down to 193. DJ Deep finally takes some fire from Crux, a little from the side from Veko as well. The crossfire is damn strong from Kazna crew, and it looks like they're being caught out here from TCM.
Yeah, Crux going back, 666 down onto Durs, a lot of damage onto them, and Elian's still on a lot of HP.
God.
DJ Deep receiving a lot of damage. He's a one-shot, does a Nick does a one-shot as well. Everyone from TCM's a one-shot. Makes it easy when you do hit it.
And hell, Elian is going to love this. Coming off the hill slightly there, getting involved in this battle, finding that kill. Wisney is so low as well. This is such a bad position for TCM. It's all falling apart. Hyber even finds Durs as now just 2 down. Wisney and Eurofish. Eurofish He did have a tier 1 behind him, no longer. Still Mojo falls, and now just these two alive. Eurofish taking some shots, not coming off though. No one there, no one to be found. Wisely needs to get into this battle, needs to be the one to do some difference here. But 4 minutes is a long time to wait.
Hyber gonna be looking for Eurofish.
Oh, Veko.
Nice little stuff from him, and I think Veko is gonna end the days for Eurofish. He will be swimming with the fishes as he does head down the hill. A few last seconds for him, but it's pretty much game over. Kazna crew do take it 3-1 as they only need to find Yizny in that AMX 1390, and he's probably gonna send himself over that cliff when he does want to end the days for him. But yeah, it was just it was an interesting fight from TCM. I think a bit like Drooling Leprechauns, they had the opportunity, but Kazna crew just slammed it straight back at them as Yizny does try and make the last few shots count. Elian and Hyber mess it all up, but it will be game over.
And there we go. Wisely does get taken down by Hyber, and Kazna crew pick up the game 3-1. A stunning victory on the last map. But then again, TCM played a very out-of-the-box strategy, tried something new. It didn't seem to work out.
Yeah. You know, Hyber and Veko were in kind of lucky position, but in perfect positions because, you know, I think for TCM Gaming, they thought Hyber and Veko were further around the corner on that kind of second hit mountain. And if they were there, then the 3 AMX 1390s could have gone on to Crux and Elian, and that would have been 3 versus 2. Then they would have won it. But it's this gamble they take, and it just doesn't pay off. They did it on Ents, they did it on Himmelsdorf, they did it on Cliff. Didn't work on all of those ones. It did work on Mines. But it's just a strange play from TCM Gaming all around. And, you know, if you do go in for the 3 push there, they were being ninjas, but I think they should have just gone all in. Dazanix just should have been there. Just put all your eggs in one basket, and sometimes it's fine. Didn't work around this time, but no, TCM, what I have to do is say, as a team, they've got a lot of good ideas, but you can see the synergy which Kazna crew has built up over 3 seasons. Really does come off. TCM got great players, got good strategy, but when you have 5 players who have been in the same team from day one, and then you add, you know, Elian in there, then you just have a really good recipe. And if you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different players and different teams joining you at one time, then you kind of have a situation where you have too much to handle as a team, and you need at least 1 season to kind of get yourself settled.
Yeah, so certainly a defining factor there for TCM, not quite being able to pick up the victory in the end. After, you know, they did start showing a little bit of promise in some of the maps. They're picking up at least 1 victory, but outside of that, it was a Kazna crew game, and the grudge match has been settled at least for now. And there was a reason we said it was the game of the day, and it certainly was. And if you did miss out on this one, obviously do go head over towards our general website and check it out, because it was an incredible match to watch. And you know, all in all, today's play day has been pretty damn good, to be fair. A little tentative on the first one, but all in all, you know, I think the Lucky Karaki game going up against Freefall was stunning. Freefall really showing some class in that game, I've got to say it. Lucky Karaki looking a little bit lacking, and the final game, Kazna crew looking very strong. But the first one, I feel it was like a slow build up to that final game there. EPS and Denial, not exactly looking phenomenal, but Denial doing the job they needed pretty much to get that victory under their belt. And they certainly did need it, because they are very much lacking in points at the moment, and that will get them at least back up into the maybe top 7 to 5 region around that marker. So they did really need that victory there. But all in all, good play day, I think. Yeah,
it was a slow start for sure. Evil Planet Squad Denial, but I think we did say it before, and this could be possibly slow.
Been,
Free Fall was also a good game. They really did. They did really put out all those stops against Lucky Cracky and managed to win it. TCM Kazna crew was, as predicted, the game of the day. You know, TCM being a little bit lackluster in their pushes and a little bit too experimental for their ability as a team, and Kazna crew just being the model of consistency that looks like the only team that can actually beat Virtus Pro when it does come to those first line finals.
Beat rather than challenge now.
Well, Kazna have got this win now. They are guaranteed a top 6 spot.
So it's time to start looking towards the offline
finals. They need to be looking at how do we counter Virtus Pro, because at the moment it looks like Kazna crew and Virtus Pro are going to be going for that first, second. possibly TCM Gaming and School Bus in that third, fourth,
Yeah.
with Evil Pan Squad in there as well.
Yeah, certainly factors to keep in mind now, because as we said, the season is well past that midway point, and the points really do mean absolutely everything. So big point there for every single team to make sure these victories happen. Don't just go for those draws. You got to get those 3 win points in the pocket and start building up those rankings. But still, I do want to say a personal thing as well to you guys at home. Thank you for getting involved on Twitter using that hashtag WGLEU. It has been awesome hearing from you guys today, and some of your opinions have been quite funny, to be fair. I've got to say it. You did keep me very much amused. So good job all in all. But at the end of the day, I do want to say also make sure you follow us too on Twitter at They Call Me Pansy and at LaughterWT to keep up to date with all of the ongoing kind of information towards the teams as well. We do like to keep you guys a little in the know. But outside of that, do make sure you follow on Facebook and Twitter using obviously the following part of WGLEU towards that URL. Make sure you follow on Twitch TV. That's just down below that lovely little follow button. Just hit that one. You'll be notified as soon as we go live. And if you want to do none of the above, which would be a lot easier to do, trust me, because I have the memory of a fish, you could depend on your brilliant memory if you have one. And make sure you tune back in on Monday, the 14th of July at the same time, 7 CEST. In the evening, obviously, and catch the next couple of games, because we do have some great games coming up. Then it'll be TCM against Freefall, and that'll be an interesting one because Freefall didn't look too bad at all, and TCM didn't look great in that play there. I've got to say, they looked a little weaker. Following that, EPS up against Wusa, interesting one all in all, a little bit of a German affair going down there. And then C-Play Isuba is something that I actually really look forward to seeing, because that could get C-Play quite hot on the heels of the likes of TCM if they pick up another victory. They're starting to build up some points there, so something to keep your eyes on going into that next play day. Make sure you tune back in. We'll be there, and hopefully you'll be as well.